Hello, my name is Melinda, and this is episode 6 of my knitting podcast. Welcome to all of you. Hello again. If you've seen one of my previous episodes, if this is your first time, then I'm happy you're here. This is a video podcast where I talk all about my knitting ventures, whether that be projects that I'm working on. Oh my goodness, there are going to be a lot of face scratchies today because of the garment I am wearing, which is mohair. We'll get into that in a minute, but anyway, talk about what I'm working on, things that I've finished, whatever yarny goodness I have going on in my life. That's what we chat about here. So settle down with a project and a beverage or whatever you wish to do, and let's get started. This is a lovely cup of coffee this morning, which, oh my gosh, September 1st. I feel like every single month you play the game of, oh my goodness, the month is almost over. Oh my goodness, it's the new month. Oh my goodness, the month is half over. Oh my goodness, it's a new month. And then the year's over, and we just repeat the cycle over and over again. But anyway, back to my mug. So one of my sisters, her nickname for me is Dr. Fancy Pants. I don't honestly recall the exact origin of that name, but there is one funny story. This was when I was in middle school. She was older, so I think she was off at college or whatever, but there was a package that arrived to the house to Dr. Fancy Pants. And I was like, oh, I got a package. And my mom was like, what? No, you didn't. You're not a doctor. And my father actually has a PhD, so he is a doctor. And my mom wouldn't believe me that I'm like, no, but I'm Dr. Fancy Pants, even though I'm not actually a doctor. And so then we had to wait until my dad got home for me to be able to open the package that I knew was my own and confirm that. And then he's like, I don't think it's mine. And then we had to call my sister and verify that, yes, I am in fact Dr. Fancy Pants, and I'm the one who gets to open the package. So, yes. Then later on, she gifted me this mug, Miss Fancy Pants. And that's unnecessary story of the day 1. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into our knitting content. What am I wearing, you might be wondering? This is my newly finished Lento. She is complete, her ends are woven in, she's off the blocking mats, and she's definitely very cozy, exactly what I was looking for. I've talked about this in a couple of my previous episodes. 1 or 2? I don't remember exactly. I think it was 2 other ones. Anyway, but basically this was a less than a 2-week garment, not even really focused knitting on it. I knit both of the sleeves all on Sunday, all in one day. Pretty bonkers. It's at like a 16 stitch gauge. I don't remember exactly, but it's knit on US 10 6mm needles, so pretty large gauge. And the yarn that I used was Whole Super Soft in the color Truffle, and Lana Grossa Silk Hair in another colorway. And it was kind of like a bluey color, but I don't know. You can look back to actually see, but there's a lot of visual interest here where you can see like the blues and grays, but as I back up, it just looks like a nice cozy gray sweater, which it definitely is cozy. Wearing it next to skin, and I'm not too sensitive to mohair. Every once in a while I can feel a bit of the itch factor, but this is not bothering me at all. It is quite soft, so I'm definitely enjoying it. This is the first time I put it on. It took longer than expected to dry for how airy it is. It took a full 2 days. Now that was in our chillier basement, but it is summer. I guess it could be humid. I don't know. Anyway, it's dry, so that's all that matters. And it's ready to actually wear more frequently in the fall when it's cold enough to wear a sweater for more than just an hour-long knitting podcast recording. Cool. that's my Lento. I plan to make 7,000 more. I was kind of thinking about this. I feel like there are quite a few people who always have a half and half triangles wrap on the needles. I'm not really a shawl knitter at all. I don't see the purpose. I've knit one shawl in my whole career, and I gifted it because I didn't really touch it ever. So, but, sorry. Yes, basically, I feel like I might be treating the Lento as many people treat the half and half wrap, where it's like I always have one on the needles, it's just my comfort project. And I'm like, you know, I think I might always have a Lento on the needles because that should be my comfort project. And I'm gonna get a lot more use out of a sweater than I am out of a shawl. Yes. So somebody did ask, like, what is so great about the Lento? And I was thinking about it, and it's definitely how quick the project works up for how little yarn you use. Because you can make like a super bulky weight sweater that is fairly quick, but you're going to go through like a significant amount of yarn, whereas with the Lento, you're going to use just a few skeins of fingering weight, a few skeins of mohair, and have a garment that is a little lighter weight, because I feel like it's easier to put on a lighter weight garment. You're going to wear that more than like a very bulky sweater. So I think there's beauty in that. It is just a very basic, simple pattern too. So kind of like talking about the half and half wrap, where that's just super mindless garter stitch knitting. But with the Lento, it is pretty mindless as well. Just a very basic standard raglan pattern, but also very satisfactory because of how quick it works up and everything. So I don't know. More to ponder there as I knit my future Lentos, but those are my thoughts as of today. Wonderful. So yes, what I'm wearing, my first finished object, the Lento. Beautiful. Now my next finished object is a surprise. This I cast on and complete all in like a 24-hour period. It's not knit. This is a crochet pouch bag, bucket bag that I made. I do also crochet, yes. I like to knit garments, and if I'm crocheting or if I'm making like a blanket or something, I will crochet that. If I'm making home goods, crochet. I just feel like the two crafts definitely have their areas where they shine more. I think I've made one crochet sweater, which was nice, but I've never actually worn it because it's like too structured. And I think there are many designers that are doing a lot more to like have a drapey crochet sweater, but I would rather just knit a sweater and crochet a bucket. So this is not an actual pattern. Long ago I found a blog post online, which maybe I'll try to find it again. I don't remember it. This was a few years back, but it taught you how to do like a perfect circle in crochet, where you do the magic circle at first, which is where you like have a big loop, and then once you crochet the first round, you cinch it up, and then each round you basically like you'll do 6 stitches on the magic circle, and then in the next round you crochet 2 into each, so now you're at 12, and then the next round you do 1 single crochet 2 in the same stitch, 1, and then increase 1, increase, and then as you go out, then you would do like 2 single crochets, 2 crochets in the same stitch, 2 single crochets, and then 3, and then increase, and then 3 and increase, and around and around and around. And there's a way you can do it where you like stagger it, because you can kind of see here where there's like the radius comes out. like a little sunshine. And there's a way where you can stagger it so it doesn't show that, but I didn't really care enough to do that because it's a lot easier to just do it in this manner. Anyway, so then I did the circle that I have memorized now from making similar buckets and bags and things like this. And then once I had like the bottom size that I wanted, which ended up being 90 stitches, so there were like 15 on each section of 6, then I did a single crochet all the way around in the back loop only, so it kind of gives that little turn. You can see a bit of a little crease to kind of form the bottom of the bucket, and then I just crocheted in every single stitch going all the way up in a big giant spiral. And I actually did do a fade with these where there's one like dark blue color here, and then there's a section where, oh, you can see it. So there's a section here where I held one of the dark blue, one of the medium blues together, and then this is the medium blue held with itself, then the medium with the light, and then just the light at the top. And then for the top part of this, I did one round of, I don't know if I'll be able to show this very well, but I like did 2 single crochets and then chain 2, 2 single crochets, chain 2. So then I had these little holes because I wanted to make it the drawstring, and then I did just like 4 more rounds above that, 3 more rounds above it to get something on the top. And then I made 2 cords where you like twist it in the opposite directions, put little tassel guys on the ends to make it easier to pull. And that's my bucket bag. Over here, the yarn that I used was Lion Brand Retweed that I had in stash. This is what it looks like in the little skein guy. I had wanted to use up all 4 of these. I used 4, well, 2 or 3 and some off of this guy. But then I just wanted to be done with it, and I thought it was big enough for what I was looking for. So I still have some leftovers. But the colors that I used were True Navy is the darkest one, and then Dutch Blue is the medium one, and Skyway is the lightest one. And my goal was to just use up some of this like random, this is wool polyester acrylic, so it's not like very soft. I wouldn't make a garment out of this. So I thought it would be perfect for a bag like this. Yes, it is worsted weight, 202 yards per 100 grams, machine washable and dryable. And oh yes, I used my Furls size M 8mm crochet hook. These are so pretty. They had a sale one time and I got like 4 hooks, and I'm happy with that because they are really nice and my hand fits well on this shape, ergonomic and such. But yes, nothing too fancy, easy to kind of self-draft or make your own if you want to. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about this. I don't believe so. Oh, I guess I have made other ones. Maybe I can show you another time where it's like just the bucket and then you make it where there are like little handles, but it's open on the top, and I kind of wanted to make one that did close, so that's why I did like the drawstring action, and it has served its purpose well in the 24 hours since I've completed it. Wonderful. We'll get to the project inside here in a minute, but I'll just show as I'm talking about it that I'm making another one. So right now I have just the bottom portion. This one I'm making out of Karen cotton cakes. This is something I got just like from a craft store in the colorway Grayscale, which, let me grab the ball off the floor. 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. This is actually the same that I knit the can't think of the name of it, but the tiny ruffly top that I made. Oh my gosh, that's really gonna bother me. The like peplum guy. Anyway, I'll put it here, but maybe, I don't know. Look at my past episodes so you can find it. But I knit a top for my daughter using the same cotton acrylic yarn. But it's just like this mega cake. And so this also is a worsted weight yarn. However, it's definitely thinner than the retweed. You can see that's like a lot holier than the other one worked up, which is fine. Like, it'll just be a little less structured than the other one. I've also made these out of cobblestone from Lion Brand. Just stuff that I've had in stash that I kind of want to get rid of. So I'm trying to work through and come up with creative projects that I want to use it for. So, but yes, this is cool colorway. It's kind of color changing, variegated. I'm not sure exactly what you'd call this, but it's basically working up like all one color. Since I'm holding a double, they're like the lighter and darker strands that come together. So just trying to work through some of like the old stash yarn that I'm not gonna use for garments or anything, and find a good purpose for it and see what I can get through. But yes, this has been a lot of fun. I'm using the same hook for this one. Trying to decide if I'll make it the same size or bigger or smaller, so we'll just see what I want to do. But I don't know. There's the recipe there for you if you want to kind of follow what I talked about. We'll see if I can find that blog post and then basically do the circle, single crochet all in the back loop, go around and around and around as long as you want to, and if you want to add the drawstring holes, just put in some chains, and that's that. Nice. Okay, so that was finished object and whip in crochet, not knitting. Surprise! I do also Tunisian crochet. I've made a handful of things. I've started a lot of Tunisian crochet projects that have gone to die, but it is fun just to like spice it up and try something new. I do think that Tunisian crochet is people who wish that they knit because they like the way that knit looks but just want to stick to their craft of crocheting, so they make Tunisian crochet projects. And speaking as someone who does Tunisian crochet, I can say that, right? But anyway, everyone just wants to have the look of knits for their garments. Anyway, okay. I'll stop before I dig myself into a hole and make people sad. Okay. Up next is a whip that I had not cast on yet as of last time. Well, a car just drove past and you could see like it flashed through the blinds. Yes, I am in this location number 2 again because I felt like the lighting was just so much better with, there's someone who's like creeping through our cul-de-sac. Anyway, the lighting was significantly better with the big windows in front of me, so we'll keep rolling with this and see how that goes. Man, we are going to have a rambly episode, but I also don't have a ton of time, so I have to be more efficient than I'm being right now. Okay, back to it. This is my sample knit for Sorella. Maybe I will pause and get some barber cords so that we can actually see it. One moment. Okay, we're back, and we have our cord, and we're going to talk as we put it on. So this is a sample knit, as I was saying, for Sorella yarn in one of their, I think it's their fall lookbook, is that what they call it? But essentially they have started putting patterns on their website, whether from like an indie designer or I think Ashleigh. Yes, this one's actually from Ashleigh, who is like the founder, owner, CEO person of Sorella. And so I think she's like revamping it and putting it out for Sorella because she used to be like just a designer. Anyway, I applied a while back and forgot that I had done that, and then they said, hey, do you want to sample knit? And I'm like, sure, I've never done that before, so cool, new experience. It has been fun thus far, just like communicating with them, working back and forth, and also getting to try out some more of their yarn. I've used some of their bulky before that I got off of like one of their oopsie sales, but this is the first time using their DK, which, oh my Lanta, it is so dang soft. So this is the festival sweater, I think that's the name of it, by Ashleigh. And oh my gosh, I'm trying to spread it out now that we're doing it. We should do it right. But yes, it is a basic top down circular yoke with these little stripy guys going down. There we go. Now we can actually see it. I think it's way more efficient to knit everything on shorter cords than necessary. So even though I'm almost complete with the yoke, I'm still on like 20-inch circulars because it's just so much faster to not have to like shove everything around 20 times. Of course, there is a point where it's like too many stitches on the needle where you can't even scooch them around, but we're still in the clear here. So anyway, top down circular yoke with the different stripes going down, and they're just like 3 sets of stripes as you go. It was a lot of pressure because when I was corresponding with the woman I've been working with, she was like, oh, we'll get the yarn out to you. There will be the main color and then 3 colors for the stripes. And I was like, how do you want the stripes ordered? Because they are just like super into color and everything. And I wanted them to tell me what order to put the stripes in when I got the 3 colors. And she's like, you can choose. And I'm like, this is too much pressure. So the other night at dinner, my husband and I sat down and I like arranged the balls to try to decide. I'm like, I think this is how it should go, or that's how it should go. Then I ended up doing like the pseudo swatch thing where you just wrap it all around. I'll put pictures in for the 3 different options. So what we're working with here is the base is just their undyed. So it's like just a creamy off-white, and then there are 3 different colored stripes. This top one is a green, the middle is a blue, and the bottom is a golden yellow. And these are from their fall tonals, did verify that. So through the fall tonals, which I'm pretty sure are going on sale September 2nd, they release like a chunk of them, a certain quantity every Friday. And so they have their first drop for the fall tonals tomorrow in September. So yes, here are, oh, I'm keeping this in my new bucket bag, which it's holding right now 6 cakes plus 1 cake that I'm almost done with, and then my project fits in there just fine, and so pretty good size. But yes, ta-da. So here is the green and the golden color and the blue. So not sure if you can tell, but these are definitely like warmer, and this one is a little cooler of a blue. And so my initial thought was, oh, the lightest one, the yellow, should go in the middle and bookend it with the 2 darker ones. But then, as we were doing our pseudo swatches, we determined that it actually looked best with the blue in the middle because it's like a little bit different than the green and the gold, which kind of bookend the cooler with the warmer colors on the outside. Also, I'm not really a color genius, so that's why that was a lot of pressure. And it was funny because my husband's like, but you're very opinionated about this. And I'm like, well, you see, I just am nervous because they're going to look at it and be like, she put these in a silly order. But then I'm like, you left it up to me, so I did what I thought was best. This is a hypothetical conversation that will likely never happen. But it is just funny because I was a little bit overwhelmed by choosing it. And I'm like, if it's just something for me, it's fine. But I'm like sending this for them to take nice photos and everything. So much pressure. But anyway, this is how we ended up. And I think it is looking nice. The blue, it definitely like warmed up a little bit in the actual fabric, but I don't know. I'm happy with the way that I chose the colors, and I feel like it is a little bit surprising because everyone would put the yellow in the middle. Maybe you wouldn't, I don't know. But don't tell me if I chose the wrong thing, but you can tell me if you think it looks really good. So those are the rules for the comments today. Festival sweater. The sample I'm knitting is the size large. And that's that. It does not have any short row shaping, so definitely something that would be very approachable for a newer garment knitter. And the stripes are very basic as well to throw in there, so something a little more exciting that one might be interested if you haven't made too many garments. I guess one other note is I have a goal, and I'm going to say it out loud so that I have to do it, and I just snagged one of the stitches a little bit. Oopsie doopsie. By next episode, next week, I will have the whole body completed and started on the sleeves, which I am almost to the sleeve split. I have like half an inch more to do before splitting for sleeves, so definitely feasible. And then the next plan will be to get both the sleeves done in the next week and ship it back to them. Have to wash and block it and then send it back to them. And of course, be very particular about weaving in my ends, which I'm not always, so I will have to do that. But yes, the festival sweater from Sorella in Sorella yarn, their fall tonals, and the bear base in my bucket bag. Wonderful. So the final whip that I will be talking about today is a new cast on since last time, and something that, oh wow, I was so excited and knit a lot on it, and I was like, pump the brakes, Melinda, you need to get your sample knit done because this personal knit does not have a timeline. So this is a potential new design. I'm very happy with it. This is what we have so far, and there is more excitement to come, but I don't think I'm going to talk about it yet because I don't know exactly how I'm going to work it out. So this is just what we have so far, and it's going to be like a nice oversized circular yoke with some special things happening in the future. I'm gonna do it with long sleeves, wider sleeves, a longer cuff, and then it's the bottom half of the body where the fun stuff will begin, but I'll show you that when we get there. So I'm knitting this up in the Harrisville Shetland yarn. I'm holding 2 strands together. It's the camel colorway, which is like a heavier fingering weight yarn. So nice. Perfect for fall. I've been like really wanting to make a sweater in this color for quite some time, and so it's been working up really well. This yarn is just so great. And that's really about it, I guess. Ooh, itchy fuzzies everywhere. It is a funnel neck. It like spreads out a lot more when it's actually on, so goes like right up here, which I'm pretty jazzed about how it worked out. Initially I had done the collar part to like 3 inches, and then I was like, ooh, that'll probably be good just like holding it up, but then I'm like, no, I need to make it longer because it's going to stretch out along this part of the neck, and so it's like 4 inches for the ribbed part, 3x1 rib, and it's just so nice on. I'm so pleased with how it worked out, and it was my first try, so that was pretty exciting. I don't think I really have anything else to say that I want to say on this one just yet, so we will leave it there. I also kind of need to power through because baby girl's gonna wake up very soon, and I want to be done filming by the time that happens. Let's see. I'm making sure that I've talked about everything I want to. Coffee is sufficiently cold. So I guess back to my Lento. This is funny. Oh, this is relevant. My sisters and I, none of us are runners, but we have signed up for runs. Like, there was one time where my whole family signed up for like a 5K on Thanksgiving, and then that year there was this meme that went around where it was like, a nightmare is marrying into the kind of family that signs up for runs on holidays or the 5K for Thanksgiving and everything. And we're like, we're just like so not that family, but we actually were that year. And it was just very funny. But again, we signed up for another run. So 2 of my sisters and I are going to be doing a 10K in November, which I'm a little bit nervous about because I haven't run in a while. I always get like pushed into doing runs. Like, one time I ran a half marathon, and I've done a couple 10-mile runs back in Minnesota where I went to college. And I'm like not a runner, but I keep doing runs. But it is fun to like have that goal and to work towards something. And if you sign up for it and you pay money, then you have to do it. So it's like motivation because you've invested something, and so you'll just be out that much money even though you're paying to do something that's not that enjoyable. But the fact that you accomplish it is enjoyable. I don't know, it's interesting, the whole world of running. I don't understand it, but I step into it sometimes. But yes, this was from the family 5K that we did. Wisconsin runs, good stuff. Okay, but inside here, I have caked up my yarn for my luxury Lento. So my incentive is to have this sitting ready for me so that once I finish my sample knit, I get to knit this. I almost cast it on the other day, and I said, no, Melinda, because then you'll want to knit on nothing but this, and you have other responsibilities here. So it will sit here looking at me from afar until I finish my sample knit, and then I get to cast this one on. I think it will be a little bit interesting because Surrey has less yardage than mohair. So I got 2 skeins of the fingering weight merino cashmere nylon and 2 skeins of Surrey, but Surrey only has like 330 yards per 50 grams, where mohair is like similar to the fingering weight, where if you get a skein from a hand dyer, it's going to be 50 grams most likely with about 400 yards. So that works out. So we'll have to play around with this a little bit. I've been strategizing on how I can make the most of it. So I'm thinking, like, there is a double collar, so I might knit like the inside half just in the fingering weight and then over, or just do a single flat collar instead of a rolled collar. And then obviously be a little more mindful of how long I'm knitting the sleeves and the body and kind of measure that out, weighing my yarn as I go. And I might go down a size 2 because this is like plenty big with a ton of positive ease. So if I go down, then it'll go farther as well. And I think it'll still be like plenty cozy and everything. Like, I've got this much under each, or on each side. So could definitely work with that a little bit. But future cast on dangling in front of me, motivating me to finish my other project. Yes, there's something else with that I was going to talk about, but now I don't remember, so I guess we'll just move on. A tiny bit of nitty chat. Maybe I'll save that for next time, just because I'm running low on time. We'll talk about it. So, let's see. Maybe I'll crochet in chat and not knit in chat, because I'm about to add a stripe to my festival sweater, so cannot do that at the moment. So I also don't know that I can crochet in chat because I have to count, and I can't count and talk and crochet all at the same time. So I guess we'll just sit and talk. Hold on. Okay, we've got more fluff. This is a project that I haven't touched for a couple weeks. It is my daily pullover-ish knit with a single strand of Lana Grossa silk hair mohair. And this is just knitting in the round, so we can nitty chat while working on this bad boy. So yes, I love watching knitting podcasts. Like, that's why I'm making one, is because of how much I love to watch them. And I'm just like a little bit addicted. I basically have them going in the background almost constantly. And there's been something I've noticed in the past week or so that I did want to talk about a little bit, and it's just super cool. So looking at also single strand of mohair, it's nerve-wracking not to look down or not to look at my work. Nerve-wracking not to look down. That works. Okay. Anyway, just because I don't want to mess it up, and it's so small. So sorry if I just keep staring down instead of into the camera. But maybe I should cut this off. This is just getting bonkers, and it's already been bonkers the whole time. Let's get back to it. So watching all these podcasters, and there's so many out there, but I just feel like there still can't be enough. And this is why I've decided why. Because knitting is something that like anyone can do. There are people who do everything, like full-time doctors, like Inga from Knitting Traditions, who knits all the time and has a knitting podcast. And so she brings that to the table. And then other ones I've been watching a lot. I just found the Untangled Knitting podcast with Lily, where I binged all of her current episodes, and she in her normal life is an art curator, and so when she's talking about her projects, you hear her talk about like the color and how this works with this and all of these things. And it's so interesting to hear her speak about it and have her expertise in like the world of art and bringing in what she knows about color and how all of that works together, and hearing that perspective, especially because, as I've mentioned 17,000 times, that's like not my strength. I love my browns and my neutrals, and I'm happy to live in that space. And then there's, who else? Oh, High Fiber Knits. Emily? Oh no, I think it's Emily. If it's not, I'm sorry. But High Fiber Knits, she is a science teacher. And the other day she released an episode where she was talking about cotton and like mercerized cotton, and hearing her talk about the whole process of how, what's the difference between just cotton and mercerized cotton. You could just like hear her go into her science mode, and it's like there's just like something within knitting for everybody. Or like Young Folk Knits, Casey, she used to do photography, and as you can tell from her episodes, they're just so like cinematically beautiful, where the editing is gorgeous and all the photos that she puts out on Instagram are incredible and just like a really amazing aesthetic. And so I just have really been looking at the fact that this is like so cheeseball, but like knitting crosses so many people, and everybody has something that they're able to like bring to the table, and their strengths and everything can really shine within knitting. I had a conversation, this was a really long time ago, with one of my sisters, where she was just like talking about my creativity, and it's like, oh, this and this and this, and I'm like, well, I'm more of like a science math minded person, and so even when I'm doing something creative, it's coming from the side of like, oh, I like the numbers, and I like recreating this, or I like putting these pieces together like a puzzle in order for it to work out this way, where it's not like Lily who comes in and she's like, oh, the beautiful colors that is like speaking this story and whatever. And I'm like, I don't get that. But I do get how like, oh, the numbers, like the raglan with grading a raglan, and how you make these diagonal lines and do these increases, and it's basically like a square, but you put a hole in the middle and it fits over your head, and then it fits onto your body because of the shaping that you do. I don't know, this is getting kind of silly, but I don't know, it's just cool how like there's a space in knitting for everyone in their different interests, and it's just so fun. And so that's one thing where it's like there can't be too many knitting podcasts, because everybody talks about knitting differently and brings something different to knitting. And there are the artsy people who are super into color and movement and all that stuff, and then there are the more like math sciencey people where it's talking about the mercerized cotton process or digging into the fibers and why this behaves that way or whatever. So I don't know, you can just geek out about so many different aspects of knitting, and that is something that's so cool. So yes, very fun observation. I don't know if anyone has other thoughts there, or like what's your strength that you bring to knitting, or podcasters that you watch, what is it about them that like is unique or special to their skill set, to their background, to their interests or strengths or whatever it might be. Let me know if you have other thoughts or observations or what have you in the comments. I would love to hear what other people see with other podcasters or just knitters or people in the community in general. Cool, something to think about. But I do hear that my baby has woken up from her nap, so I will close with what's bringing me joy this week, and that is also related to the baby who's upstairs who needs me to go get her right now. But she started walking. Like, she's been taking little steps, or like a step fall forward and everything for the past few weeks, but in the past week she's actually like been able to go from one place to another and walk and stay standing. And it is so cool. Just like watching this tiny person grow and develop is such a gift. And oh my goodness, it is just like so beautiful to watch this little life that like started inside of me, and then it's you come home from the hospital and you're like, you were literally yesterday inside here. Like, that is, I don't know. Babies are amazing. Motherhood is awesome. And seeing her grow and develop is just such a gift and is bringing me so much joy. And I just want to sit in it and soak it in as much as possible. So anyway, that's what's bringing me joy. I'm going to go get her and find joy in spending time with her this afternoon. But I wish you all well, and I pray that you are also finding joy in your life. Happy knitting to you all. I will see you next time. Bye!